Imagine being taken from your home as a teenager. Your nation has been conquered. Your future is uncertain. Everything familiar has been stripped away. Now imagine being forced to serve the very empire that destroyed your people. Most would have disappeared into history, but one young man did something extraordinary. He survived. Not just for a few years. Not just under one ruler. He served under 4 kings, through political upheavals, national crises, and the rise and fall of empires. His name was Daniel. More than 2,500 years later, his story remains one of the most remarkable examples of leadership, resilience, and influence ever recorded. How did Daniel maintain his integrity in a foreign culture? How did he earn the trust of kings without compromising his convictions? And how did he remain influential for more than 60 years in one of the most powerful empires in the ancient world? To answer those questions, we must travel back to ancient Babylon and uncover 7 leadership lessons that helped Daniel survive 4 kings. The year was around 605 BC. Babylon had become the dominant power of the ancient Near East. Under King Nebuchadnezzar, the empire expanded rapidly, conquering nations and bringing entire kingdoms under its control. One of those kingdoms was Judah. Jerusalem fell under Babylonian control, and many of its brightest young people were taken captive and transported hundreds of miles away to Babylon. Among those captives was a young man named Daniel. He was likely a teenager, intelligent, educated, and far from home. The Babylonians had a strategy. They didn't simply conquer nations with military power. They reshaped minds. Young captives were selected and trained in Babylonian language, culture, science, and administration. The goal was simple: transform future leaders into loyal servants of the empire. Daniel was now living inside the heart of Babylon. The pressure to conform was immense. But this is where the first leadership lesson emerges. Lesson 1. Know who you are. One of Daniel's earliest challenges involved something that might seem small: food. The king ordered that Daniel and the other trainees receive food and wine from the royal table. To many people, this would have seemed like a privilege. But Daniel saw a deeper issue. Accepting everything offered to him would have required him to abandon principles he considered important. Instead of reacting with anger or rebellion, Daniel approached the situation respectfully. He requested permission to follow a different diet. His request was granted. After a trial period, Daniel and his friends appeared healthier and stronger than the others. This moment revealed something important. Before Daniel could influence Babylon, he had to know who he was. His identity was not defined by his circumstances. It was not defined by the empire around him. It was not defined by what others expected of him. He knew his values, and he quietly stood by them. Many leaders lose themselves trying to fit into every environment they enter. But lasting influence begins with clarity. If you don't know what you stand for, every challenge will push you in a different direction. Daniel teaches us that strong leadership starts with a strong sense of identity. Lesson 2. Solve problems others cannot solve. As the years passed, Daniel's abilities became increasingly noticeable. One night, King Nebuchadnezzar had a troubling dream. The dream disturbed him so deeply that he demanded his advisors tell him both the dream and its meaning. The request was impossible. The wise men of Babylon were terrified. No one could provide what the king demanded. Failure meant death. As panic spread through the kingdom, Daniel responded differently. Instead of giving in to fear, he sought understanding. After receiving insight into the dream, Daniel appeared before the king and explained both the dream and its interpretation. Nebuchadnezzar was astonished. Daniel had succeeded where every expert had failed. Suddenly, the young captive became one of the most important advisors in the empire. What made Daniel valuable wasn't his title. It was his ability to solve difficult problems. Organizations, businesses, and communities all reward people who can solve meaningful problems. The most influential leaders are often not the loudest. They are the people who bring clarity when everyone else is confused. The question is simple: what problem can you solve that others avoid? Lesson 3. Remain calm during crisis. Years later, Babylon faced another moment of uncertainty. A mysterious hand appeared during a royal banquet and wrote strange words on a palace wall. The king was terrified. His advisors were helpless. No one could explain what the writing meant. Again, Daniel was called. Notice the pattern. Whenever a crisis emerged, Daniel became relevant. While others panicked, he remained calm. While others were overwhelmed by uncertainty, he focused on understanding the situation. Daniel interpreted the message. It was a warning. Babylon's days were numbered. The empire would soon fall. And it did. The kingdom changed hands. The political landscape shifted dramatically. Yet Daniel survived. Crises reveal character. Anyone can lead when conditions are comfortable. But true leadership appears when people are afraid. The ability to remain calm during uncertainty allows better decisions, clearer thinking, and stronger influence. People naturally trust those who remain steady under pressure. Lesson 4. Speak the truth, even to powerful people. One reason Daniel earned respect was his honesty. He did not tell kings only what they wanted to hear. He told them what they needed to hear. On several occasions, Daniel delivered difficult messages to Nebuchadnezzar. These messages were not always pleasant. Some warned of pride. Some warned of consequences. Some challenged the king's assumptions. Speaking honestly to powerful people can be risky. Many choose silence. Others tell leaders only what makes them comfortable. Daniel chose a different path. He combined courage with respect. He spoke truth without arrogance. This made him trustworthy. Every organization needs people who can provide honest feedback. Leaders who surround themselves with only agreement often make poor decisions. Daniel's example reminds us that integrity sometimes requires difficult conversations. Respectful honesty builds trust over time. Lesson 5. Maintain consistency. Perhaps the most remarkable thing about Daniel was not a single achievement. It was consistency. Decades passed. Kings changed. Governments changed. Policies changed. Yet Daniel's habits remained remarkably stable. His reputation became so strong that officials struggled to find faults in his work. Think about that for a moment. In a world filled with political intrigue and corruption, Daniel developed a reputation for reliability. People knew what to expect from him. He showed up. He fulfilled his responsibilities. He maintained discipline. Over time, consistency became one of his greatest strengths. Many people focus on dramatic breakthroughs, but lasting success is usually built through repeated small actions. Consistency often beats intensity. A person who does the right thing repeatedly gains credibility that cannot be manufactured overnight. Trust grows through reliability. Lesson 6. Build trust across different leaders. One of the most fascinating parts of Daniel's story is that he remained influential under multiple rulers. Nebuchadnezzar trusted him. Belshazzar sought his help. Darius promoted him. Cyrus respected him. This is extremely rare. Many advisors rise and fall with a single leader. Daniel adapted to changing environments without losing his principles. He understood something many leaders miss. Influence is not about loyalty to personalities. It is about consistently creating value. Each new ruler saw Daniel's competence, wisdom, and reliability. As a result, each ruler kept him close. Workplaces change. Management changes. Industries change. Technology changes. People who survive these transitions are often those who continue creating value regardless of circumstances. Adaptability combined with integrity is a powerful combination. Lesson 7. Focus on character over approval. Daniel's most famous test came during the reign of Darius. Jealous officials wanted to remove him from power, but they faced a problem. They could find no evidence of corruption, no scandal, no dishonesty, no misconduct. Eventually, they created a trap. A law was passed that restricted prayer and required loyalty to the king alone. The officials knew Daniel's habits. They expected him to compromise. Instead, Daniel continued doing what he had always done. He refused to abandon his convictions for political convenience. As a result, He was arrested and thrown into a den of lions. It appeared that his story was over. But Daniel emerged unharmed. The event became one of the most famous stories in history. What stands out is not merely the miracle. It is Daniel's character. He was willing to lose position, status, and even his life rather than betray his principles. Many people spend enormous energy seeking approval. But approval is temporary. Character lasts. Leaders who base their decisions entirely on popularity often become trapped by public opinion. Daniel teaches us that integrity is more valuable than acceptance. When we step back and examine Daniel's life, a pattern becomes clear. His success was not built on luck. It was not built on power. It was not built on wealth. It was built on principles. He knew who he was. He solved difficult problems. He remained calm during crises. He spoke truth with courage. He practiced consistency. He built trust across changing environments. And he valued character more than approval. These qualities made him indispensable. Empires changed. Kings came and went. But Daniel remained relevant. History remembers many kings. Nebuchadnezzar ruled one of the greatest empires of the ancient world. Belshazzar presided over Babylon's final days. Darius governed a vast kingdom. Cyrus reshaped the course of history. Yet today, millions of people remember the name of a captive advisor who served them. Why? Because influence built on position eventually fades. Influence built on character endures. Daniel entered Babylon as a teenager with no power, no status, and no control over his circumstances. Yet through wisdom, integrity, courage, and consistency, he became one of the most respected leaders of his generation. His story reminds us that leadership is not about titles. It is about trust. It is not about controlling circumstances. It is about responding wisely to them. And it is not about surviving one difficult season. It is about developing the kind of character that can endure through every season. Daniel survived 4 kings. But more importantly, he left behind a leadership legacy that has survived for more than 2,000 years. I'm sure you enjoyed this story and the timeless lessons within it. The Bible is filled with extraordinary people, unforgettable stories, struggles, victories, and wisdom that still speak to us today. At One Audience, we go beyond the stories to uncover the deeper lessons and timeless wisdom hidden within them. Subscribe to One Audience and discover the Bible in a whole new way.